Ni hao, assalamu alaikum, dzień dobry, hola. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's Ken at 10. How are you today? Hope you're doing well. The weekend is over. We're back. Level 2 lockdown is here. How are you feeling about it all? Hope you're okay. It's frustrating, I know, but it is what it is. Good news, we're looking at a vaccine in the new year, though. Let's look at the positives. That's a light at the end of the tunnel, isn't it? Even if it is only for the elderly initially, it does show that progress is being made, which is great to see. So I hope you had a nice weekend. I had a fantastic one. Really enjoyed it. And if you haven't been here before, we are James Alexander Estate Agents, and I'm Ken. That's why it's Ken at 10. Simple as that, really. We broadcast every day live from our offices in Norbury, and we talk about all things property, really, plus general market, politics, anything that comes to mind, really. If you're there and watching live, give us a shout. Let us know you're there. Hope you're doing well, and we'll shout you back. Foreign buyers. Now, this is an interesting one. There was a massive uptake in the number of foreign buyers buying in and around central London over the last few months. And I was looking at that. Good morning, Tarek. Happy Monday to you too. And I was just looking at the numbers and thinking, why is that? And it turns out that I'd forgotten that there's an additional 2% levy to be charged on homes by non-UK residents. And that's to each band of stamp duty. So it takes a second home from 12% to 17%, which explains why luxury homes have been hit so hard. And then I thought, well, who's actually taking these properties? And apparently it's mostly the UAE, although Malaysia has the biggest spend with an average of 5.1 million. Gosh, a lot of rich Malaysians out there. Who knew? House valuations. Big news on house price valuations. There seems to be a lot of down valuations going on at the moment, and this is a frustration. You know, when a surveyor goes to look at a house, they should be taking comparables, and it's the agent's job to try and provide comparables of similar properties that have been sold in the area to demonstrate that their valuation is reasonably accurate. One of the big frustrations is that sometimes it's not very tangible. It's not very easy to tell because there might not have been a sale in a particular street, especially in smaller areas. And therefore, the surveyor comes along, can't find the evidence, and then draws a conclusion, which is often lower than the price that's being paid. And that can be a real frustration for vendors and purchasers. And it's really, really hard. I mean, I negotiate with surveyors all the time. And I find it's that old, person convinced against their words of the same opinion still. Really frustrating. And I just think in the end, when it comes down to it, what you want to do is get the valuation to the right level. And if it's not, then what you can do is speak to the surveyor, provide some comparable evidence, and then with that evidence, hopefully the surveyor will see reason. And if you can provide enough comparable evidence, then you may be able to overturn the valuation. It's quite often you can't, and the reason you can't is because surveyors tend to dig in and be quite stuck in their valuation and very, very hard to get away from it. So even when on occasion we found that we've provided ample comparable evidence to them to say, look, these properties have sold around it, and still they stick to their guns, and there's really nothing you can do. It just is what it is in those circumstances. You can only then ask the purchaser if they can possibly bridge the gap, and if they can't, a new mortgage application with a new lender is sometimes the answer. The risk being, of course, that some of these surveyors are panelled for several lenders, so even then you could end up with the same surveyor. So a really tricky thing. I notice it's mostly happening on remortgage valuations, and to be fair, when people are remortgaging, then it's a situation where actually people are just trying to get whatever they can out on a cheap rate usually. So it might well be that they're overstating the value of their house in order to maximize the refinance costs. And it's rare that that refinance is more than 75%. So surveyors are just being ultra cautious. Why? Well, we've got the pandemic, possibly the perfect storm with COVID and the end of the stamp duty holiday, as well as the increasing costs for overseas buyers as well come April. So those things together are worrying them. They're disconcerting them as to what might happen to the market next. And it's understandable, really, isn't it? Weather here in SW16, beautiful day, actually. Very nice. We've got a little bit of cloud cover, but it's actually quite warm for the time of year, which is great. So that's it for Ken at 10 today. Hope you're having a good day, and look after yourselves and your family. I'll be back again for another Ken at 10 tomorrow. Take care.